This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
It is Long Shots, golf betting podcast here on the VSiN Podcast Network. I am Matt Brown. That is Wes Reynolds. That is Kelly Bidlin. It is finally here. We have gotten to the playoffs here in the PGA season, counting down to NFL getting going. And playoffs! Yeah, we are down to the playoffs here, and got to start things off here. It is a very sad day, maybe the saddest of sad days here on the Long Shots podcast. We have often listed off our list of losers and the guys that have cost us the most amount of money since we've been betting golf. And there's one golfer who, if you had bet an outright on every single time that he had teed it up 94 previous times, you would have a ROI of negative infinity because Cam Young had never won a PGA Tour event. Wes Reynolds has an affinity for Cam Young in his game. And Cam Young was rude and crude and went off and won a tournament that Wes did not have him on the outright card. And I do not like Cam Young, and he is not allowed on this podcast ever. Even if he wants to come on and talk to us, he is barred and forbidden from ever coming on Long Shots because, Wes, of the 21 other times that you have bet him, he could have gone out and won a damn tournament, and then he goes out here in this one that shouldn't have fit him at all. He should not have been able to win this tournament, and instead he runs away with it. Damn you, Cam Young. You are barred from this podcast for life, buddy.
You know, there's a part of me that kind of felt dumb not betting him, even though you're right, Matt. He's not a fit at all for this type of course. This is not a driver-heavy course there at Sedgefield for last week's Wyndham Championship in Greensboro, and look, that's what Cameron Young does best is hit it with the driver, and he hits it all over the place, but he can hit it pretty far. So I thought, well, this really doesn't fit, even though it's kind of a home game for him because he played his college golf at nearby Wake Forest and Winston-Salem, not too far from Greensboro. And so the home game, I think, carried over, and plus the fact that his ball striking was absolutely excellent last week. He ran away, and I look at the final margin because I stopped following it at very early on Sunday, knowing that this was pretty much a foregone conclusion. And I looked at it, and it's like he only won by 6. Like I felt he should have won by like 10. The way he struck the ball in this tournament, and you know, just an absolute clinic from the guy, and congratulations to him, and also the fact that he led the field in putting. So that's always going to help any event that you're in. But Cameron Young wins by 6 and perhaps puts himself in the Ryder Cup consideration. I think there's a couple spots on the back end of Keegan Bradley's roster that may still very well be open. So these playoff events are really going to matter over the next few weeks, not just from the money standpoint from the FedEx Cup, but also for Ryder Cup consideration.
Kelly goes out there on Sunday and bogeys the first hole, and I go, oh, God, oh, my God, he's going to do this. He's going to collapse. I cannot believe this is going to happen. And then he birdied 4 straight holes, and then it was no looking back from there. But, yeah, I mean, I had no money on him. We collectively had no money on him. I was actually rooting for the dude because, like, when he bogeyed that first hole, I'm like, oh, my God, this guy might never recover if he blows this freaking lead and, like, doesn't win this tournament. And so I was, when he bounced back with the birdie, I was kind of like, oh, thank God. I mean, it's just like, because we don't ever root against these dudes, right? I mean, like, we're not like, we're fans of the sport. We're fans of golf. And so, wanted him to get it done, and fortunately did get it done. As Wes said, I mean, you know, at least maybe considered on how he shows out the next few weeks, could put himself on the back end of all of that. I don't know. The inconsistencies for him, I would not have him anywhere near the team. It's just like going out and win one tournament like we're being very like biased, like by recency bias, right? I mean, like his overall performances are so erratic that, like, I mean, just because he wins a tournament here down towards the stretch doesn't really mean much. But there are
so many guys on that back end too that you can like throw a blanket over that are really borderline. And you know, does Bradley go with experience? Or does he go with who the hot player is? Because there are guys that are going to be on this team that are already clinched pretty much in the points that we didn't think were going to be on, namely J.J. Spawn, who is going to be on this team as the U.S. Open champion. So you never know. He's a big hitter, so you would think he would fit Bethpage a hell of a lot more than he did Sedgefield, but he is very erratic and has been really all season.
Well, the only thing I'll push back on there is where are we at with okay, so this is going to be, I did not have Ryder Cup standings up, so this is a complete waste
Kelly,
of time.
Kelly, if you're going to push back on something, you better pull up the right graphic. I mean, you can't say
No, okay, so where are Goddard up
Kelly,
and Griffin at? Where are Goddard up and Griffin at? Are they in or not?
They are not in the points right now. I actually have it pulled up.
Are they in Matt Brown's power rankings ahead of Cameron Young?
Who?
Rank Goddard up and Ben Griffin.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is it
they've
more?
They've been exponentially more consistent than he has.
Sure.
I think
is it more? Is it more recency bias though to latch onto Cameron Young, a guy who's at least played much better golf over several years than those two, or to go to those two, who have done it all this season?
Well, I mean, you have to. So there's a difference between recency bias when we're talking about an entire calendar year of golf, and we're talking about like 1 week of tournament. Like, it's sure you can sit there and say like, oh, over the course of his whole career, but I mean, then you could bring up like a million different guys who've played well at some point for stretches or whatever.
But he's got both, right? He's got the win recently and here.
Should we be debating Lucas Glover then? I mean, like, what are you? No, I mean, no, of course not. Like,
and to your point, like there are guys that are like nowhere in consideration that are past Ryder Cuppers that have had good runs. Like Tony Finau is nowhere near.
Right.
This team right now. He's like 22nd in the standings. By the way, it's the top 6 that finish it in the top of the standings that get the automatic bids, and then 6 captain's picks for Bradley. But like Tony Finau or Ricky Fowler. So it's like, do you do it where somebody gets really hot in these FedEx Cup playoffs, and then you got to consider, because I remember several years ago when Billy Horschel won 2 playoff events and did not get selected to the Ryder Cup team. So I think it's a more holistic view, and we'll see what Captain Bradley does. I'm starting to lead, by the way, a little bit to maybe Captain Bradley is not going to pick himself as a player. I'm starting to think that he's not.
I'm going to be so upset.
And I think that he should. I agree, Kelly. I think that he should, but I think when you're the Ryder Cup captain, and especially when you represent the side that's been getting its ass kicked in the last 20 to 25 years, you don't get this opportunity to be a captain. So, like, look how negatively we think of Zach Johnson now. It's like, man, he did not captain a good Ryder Cup in Rome, and you never want that as your legacy. So I think Bradley might be like, yeah, if I play, I'm going to be distracted. So that maybe opens up another spot on the back end of the team.
Yeah, I mean, there's another guy, though, right, who's he's played well recently and has got some legacy numbers to back him up. Way more than Cameron Young. That I would be much more infuriated. You know what's funny? Matt, I know you're getting sick of me right now. What's funny is I never feel like I'm the big Ryder Cup guy, and I never, ever want to get into these conversations. Like, everybody does their whole, like, rankings this time of year, and I'm just like, this is so boring to me. But every time I get pulled into one of these conversations, I always somehow have a passionate take on it. I don't know.
Top 6, by the way, in the points right now, just to mention, Scheffler, Schauffele, Spawn, Henley, DeChambeau, and Harris English, as of where we sit right now, are the top 6, and then JT right outside of it. I expect JT to make the team. Morikawa just behind him. Still expect him to make the team, even though, he might want to have a couple good performances the next couple weeks.
I wouldn't be pissed off if Colin was left off. I mean, maybe not to your point, Matt, but to the overall season success, I expect more out of Colin Morikawa.
He's got to find a caddy first. He's got to find a caddy.
What's he on, caddy number 5 this week?
Number 4, I think number 4 this week. Mark Urbanak, by the way, who was Tony Finau's bag man, is now on Colin Morikawa's bag this week.
I got a couple other things that we can move on. I know that don't worry, Ryder Cup. We got plenty of time to talk about it, argue about it. It's gonna be. I think we can all agree the next couple of weeks though are very important for what the back end of that team looks like, right?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Morikawa. I mean, yeah, he didn't do well overseas, but outside of that, I mean, it's T17, T17-2, T10, T14, T17, T20, T23, T8. I mean, he just hadn't won anything, so it's kind of like it feels like whatever. But I mean, he's
What have you done for me lately, Colin? Give me a W,
He's
okay?
been fine. I'll just put it this way. I don't really care about arguing about this because we can and all. It's just next time that you say, like, hey, I got a point to prove. And then, like, you go to a window and you pull up Pornhub instead. Like I don't like don't pull up your Pornhub window, like, instead of, like, the actual window that you're trying to, like, pull up on the thing over here. Like, just have it ready if you're going to try to come back at me about something.
Ryder Cup porn is a real niche show. That's a real niche right there. So the two other things I want to bring up. How are... Okay, so the Cameron Young ROI, I love that Rick Gaiman did this. If you bet $100 on Cameron Young every tournament of his career, you're still down $3,200. That's where we're at with the Cameron Young.
I have some hundreds, maybe in the thousands range, that I have lost on Cameron Young. So I'm at least part of that.
The other one, I don't know how much we've talked about ever on this podcast. It is one of the things that of all of sponsorships on the PGA Tour, as wacky as we've seen in the past 20, 30 years, especially in the 90s, right? Before Tiger came around and really it was okay, a lot of big brands come into play. Well, I've never fully understood the Major League Baseball sponsorship on certain golfers and, like, how, I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm not saying it shouldn't be okay, but it's a little weird. And there's like 4 or 5 of them that have it. And how did, like, the golf casual fans, I feel like, never bring this up. They never bring this up. And it's mind blowing to me that, like, these guys win this tournament, you know, Johnny Vegas or a Cameron Young, there's just a big, like, MLB logo on their collar. It's odd to me. Nobody else finds this fascinating.
Remember when the late great Payne Stewart wore the NFL stuff, and he always wore the team of the city he was in. So if there's a PGA Tour event in Chicago, he'd have the orange and blue on for the Bears on Sunday. And that's what Payne Stewart always did in the 80s and the 90s. So nobody's really tried to duplicate that, though, with the baseball. They're just wearing the big MLB logo. Like, it's not like, okay, we're in Atlanta this week, so let me wear a Braves polo or something like that. So we haven't seen that yet.
Just I'm waiting for that next NBA team to just have like an NFL shield like next to them. Like, it's just that would be weird, right? Like, that would be weird. But in golf, we're just like, yeah, it's okay. That's fine.
I mean, I'm just going to assume they don't pay very well because, like, none of the big name dudes have it.
It's none of the big name, right?
So it's like, yeah,
it's Cameron
Major Baseball
Young.
gives them like 5 tickets to a game a year or something, and that's like what they like put on
season tickets to their home team. Yeah.
Are they paying what Kevin Costner or Roy McIlroy got in Tin Cup, where he had First Bank of Salome and like such and such, Chill's Barbecue and Grill or something, or whatever the hell was on it.
I mean, it's Cameron Young, Johnny Vegas, and Adam Long, I believe I can remember off the top of my head, and I feel like I'm missing one or two. Like, it's more than you would think. It's just weird to me. Sorry.
They're allowed to throw out a first pitch at some point over the next 2 years as the sponsorship or something. They can go out and throw the first pitch out at one of the games or something.
Yeah, you guys don't seem as enthused as me. I'll pitch it to Pablo Torre. Finds out. We'll go investigate this real hard.
Yeah. Go get it. Go get us a definitive answer, and then you can come back and you can pop it up on the screen, and it'll be a totally different window, and it won't even be what you're trying to do.
Investigator
the NFL logo.
Yeah.
He has more of an interest in Bill Belichick's love life certainly than I do.
Okay, so Pat, put the regular season behind us, and off we go, and we are heading over to TPC Southwind. And Wes, of course, as always, if people want to become a VSiN Pro subscriber, VSiN.com, go over. You can get the full write-up and breakdown of everything. But here for podcast purposes, what are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, we are in Memphis, Tennessee at TPC Southwind, as we usually are. So we don't have it queued up, but pretend you're hearing the Walking in Memphis song by the 1992 Grammy Award-winning Best New Artist, Mark
Kelly,
Cohn.
don't you dare do it. Don't you dare do it. We're going to get booted off of YouTube and whatever. We're going to get all kinds of copyright infringements and stuff.
So
going
we don't need a lawsuit.
Yeah, right.
But Walking in Memphis, just imagine you're hearing it. By the way, this is the top 70. But this week, Rory McIlroy not walking in Memphis. I have no idea where he is. He's probably resting somewhere in a tropical climate, but he is not in this field this week because he's going to be in the Tour Championship, and they reset the Ryder Cup FedEx Cup points, I should say. And oh, by the way, just to look ahead, Tour Championship, we don't have the starting strokes anymore. So that makes me more interested in the FedEx Cup playoffs that we don't have that, because I hated the starting strokes. It made it a nightmare to handicap. So we still do it 70, 50, 30 in the FedEx Cup event. 70 this week, 50 in Baltimore next week for the BMW, and then 30 at East Lake for the Tour Championship. So we are looking this week, though, at TPC Southwind, which has hosted the tour for forever here in Memphis. This has been a variety of names when it was just the regular St. Jude Classic in June, and now it's been a WGC event. Now it's a FedEx Cup playoff event. So built in 1988, Ron Pritchard, the designer, Fuzzy Zeller was a consultant on this. Probably one of the more difficult TPC courses of all the TPC layouts owned by the Tour. 7288 par 70. It is zoysia grass, so very similar to East Lake in Atlanta, where you get some bounce in the fairways, but these fairways are really narrow, 27 yards wide on average. These are very, very tight windows. You've got some Bermuda rough that can be tricky and unpredictable. Greens are Bermuda. The course is pretty much Bermuda throughout. Slower greens, slowish, maybe average, but very small greens to hit, 4,300 square feet on average. You have a lot of water on this course. I think the most water balls on tour by far over the last 20 years. So what they did in terms of some renovations, they did rebuild and resurface all of the greens and all the tee boxes, but not a lot of difference in what we saw last year, maybe about a 50-yard longer course. They have had a lot of rain, too, in Memphis. We'll get to that when we talk about the weather, but they've had a lot of rain this year, so you are going to get firm greens, but I think the heat is going to counteract that, so this should be pretty firm greens and some bounce in those fairways.
If we look at this, Kelly, is there anything as you were looking over the course? I know that it is at least a little bit different than what we've seen in years past with some renovations being done within the last year. Is there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, of course I like. This is I remember now as we do these podcasts, it's always like the alternating weeks of the courses that I like down the stretch. So, look, it's a premium on ball striking, right? These are narrow fairways. Got to keep it in the fairways. These will be penal roughs that these guys are going to have to deal with, so keep it in the fairway. Distance helps for sure. So off the tee is going to be major here, and then it's going to be a real premium on approach play. This is a par 70, a lot of par 4s baked in. How you do on those par 4s is going to be probably how you do in the tournament. The greens, I don't think they're the trickiest on the planet, but they're small, right? So you got to hit the greens. And, if we get a hot putter, you're probably around for the weekend. I do think you got to factor in a little around the green play, a little scrambling. But, man, this is a major ball strikers week, and I think we're the ball strikers podcast. So you're looking for guys out there that are going to go flush it and get another Kurt Kitayama home or something like Wes Reynolds there.
If you're looking for course correlations, Sawgrass for the players, Innisbrook, which is where the Valspar is, PGA National, East Lake, of course, with the Zoysia in Atlanta, and maybe a little Pebble Beach. I've seen, because I kind of like to look at these and see, okay, what players have succeeded here and other courses, and if there's kind of some course carryover, like we talked about last week with Sedgefield and Harbortown for the RBC Heritage. I think those courses I listed, you'll find a lot of common winners or at least very high placers here.
Yeah, a couple notes I actually wrote down. This is from Ron Claus and then Pat Mayo, both of these I kind of combined. In the past 13 years at TPC Southwind, only 3 winners have finished worse than 16th for the week in strokes gained off the tee. So 13 years, only 3 of those winners have finished worse than 16th off the tee. And on approach, no winner has finished outside the top 20 in the year in which they hoisted the trophy. No winner ever. Over the past 3 years, 43 of the top 48 players on the leaderboard gained in good drive percentage compared to the field. So, I mean, I don't usually lean on a ton of trend numbers like that, but man, that shows you got to keep it in the fairways, do well off the tee here, and do well on approach.
Yeah, it is. One of those deals too, where we'll talk about this when we talk about the stats that matter. But it's you're going to look, and it doesn't sound like it's all that intimidating with only 3-inch Bermuda rough. But as we talk about a lot of times, like these dudes would rather play out a 4-inch rough of any type of other grass than 3-inch rough of Bermuda, just because there's no consistency whatsoever as to how that's going to come out.
You get flyers because that rough like sticks to the club face in Bermuda.
Depends on how far it gets down in there. Then it just like can get all kinds of crappy and whatever and stuff. So just something to keep in mind. I'm sure we will discuss that as we talk about the stats that matter to us from what we're looking at off the tee with all of this. But as no surprise to anyone that has been listening to this podcast or playing any sort of golf tournament throughout the course of the year, yes, Scottie Scheffler is your favorite, and he's your favorite by a ton. He is anywhere from about high 200-ish something to, I think there's still 3-1 out there in the market at MGM, but yeah, it's like basically kind of where we sit, right at that 3-1, a little bit less than 3-1, and then it jumps all the way to 18-ish, something like that with Xander. And as Wes mentioned, it's every big name in golf outside of Rory McIlroy, so we don't have to go down the list here, but, Fleetwood, Thomas, Fitzpatrick, Ludwig, Henley, et cetera, McCrow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, they're all here, and they all kind of go down into that mid-20s, into the 30s range. And so, Kelly, here comes the question that we will talk about before we, get going here. And I already got asked this on Twitter, and we're only here early on Tuesday, is should I be playing the winner without market? And I mean, it's hard for me to say no to somebody out there. Like, I mean, if somebody gave me $1 million right now and said I could either bet 3 golfers at $333,000 or I can bet all $1 million on Scottie Scheffler, I would bet all $1 million on Scottie Scheffler. Like, I mean, like, it's just the honest to God's truth. And so he is better than everybody by a long shot. We can go through the stats we go at on here. It is like, it's not even close with the next guy. And so, I guess that is the question. I don't know how you are looking at it this week or something, but I mean, I honestly believe if you're parachuting in and you want to bet this tournament and you're only looking at the difference in like, if your guy's 35-1 or he's 31-1 in the winner without market, like, don't have Scottie Scheffler like break your heart. Like don't have Scottie Scheffler like ruin your tournament for you. Like it's 4 points. Just eat it. Play the winner without.
Yeah, I think a couple. I'm glad you asked me this question because I actually did play the winner without market this week. I did.
Okay.
And I don't play it a ton. I go back and forth. I think there are. I think there are times where it can make sense to just load up more on your top 5 bet. We don't have each way betting, right? We always talk about this. We're usually covering our outrights with top 5 somehow. And I think that if you're really that scared of Scheffler in a week, and I do think this is a week where you should be very scared of him. There's only 69 players playing in this field. We've seen him win with a lot more guys that he has to battle through, right? So it's not a market I would say I play often. I think an event like this, if I'm not looking to bet Scheffler, I think it is smart to mix up how you're attacking outrights. And what I did, Matt, because we don't have as many books straight up offering singular winner without Scottie Scheffler markets, it was only Caesars and MGM that I noticed here in town. You don't have the option to compare as many prices, right, as you do with outrights. And the problem is that you don't find that perfect example you gave of a 35-31. You're usually getting your legs chopped out from you a little bit more with the winner without prices that I found at least. So what I did was, and this applies to every outright bet I made. Every outright bet that I made this week, it's not pure of math, but just think about it that 2/3 of my bet went into the outright and 1/3 went into the winner without.
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing too. Now, in the column that you'll read at VSiN.com, and I think the regular readers know that there's a winner without Scheffler market, but those of you that might be new to the program might not. Of course, Kelly mentioned the books here in Vegas, but DraftKings typically offers this nationally, as does, I believe, FanDuel. So there are the winner without, so there is that ability. So in the column, I only gave, in terms of the prices for my outrights, the regular prices. I did not give the without. But what I'm probably going to end up doing, and I've proportioned these anyway at the end of the season, we're getting obviously into football and everything going on. So I proportion these smaller as deeper as we go into the season as well. So I'm going to have maybe a proportion on winner without and then some on the outrights that I've already bet. So I will be adding some winner without stuff.
Yeah, I think that is a good way to do it as well. Just kind of like if you wanted to mix it up, if you wanted to kind of, I would highly suggest at least getting somewhat creative with your bets. I can say the shorter the number, the less you get chopped off. I mean, Xander's 18-1, but he's 14-1 in the winner without. So like little stuff like that. So just stuff to consider.
Best I could find was 12 on him. And maybe I just tipped off one of my bets, but best I could find was 12 on him. But I still bet it. It small.
So like somebody like Berger that's 50-1, you're going to be getting like 30s and 35s in the without.
Yeah,
is it that drastic? Your point is right. It gets worse.
I just noticed that DraftKings. Okay. I just happened to have that open in front of me, and that was the cutoff.
Okay. Real quick, can I add something real quick before we move on? Rory sitting out. How do you guys feel about it?
I mean, they've given these guys that option, but I feel like it kind of does delegitimize because Rory he's always he's won the FedEx Cup before, of course, numerous times. I think the most frequent winner of the FedEx Cup. So he's always kind of prioritized this like this is a really big accomplishment and people should give a damn about it. And then you miss the first event because you already know, well, I'm going to be at the Tour Championship anyway, and they're resetting the points. So it's like, I feel like it does kind of cut the you-know-what off of the playoffs and its importance. So I'm not going to get on him too bad, but I feel like he should be in Memphis this week.
I kind of feel like he should be there, but then again, at the same time, if the goal is to win the whole thing and whatever, if he feels it's best to not play,
you don't want to be hot down there in Memphis, but by the way, it's hot in Atlanta in 2 weeks too, Rory.
I understand it's uncomfortable to say this, but it's always maximize what you can do within the rules that you're given, right? And this is week 18 of the NFL, sitting your starters when everything is clinched. Yeah. I don't know why Rory sitting out didn't make more people think, you know what? The biggest goal here, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think the biggest goal here, though, is just to make sure you're in the top 50. That gets you into every signature event next year. Mm. So I'm not saying you need to skip multiple if you're Rory McIlroy. That sucks. But, man, if I was well inside that top 50, I would be thinking, really hard about skipping this first event to not possibly screw up where my standing's going to be.
Well, and one other angle here, too, and this is not to say that Rory is not generous with his philanthropic endeavors. Mm-hmm. He's certainly, I think, proven to be over the years. But it is FedEx St. Jude. So it's St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is based in Memphis. And the charity has always been a huge part of this event, even though now it's a playoff event, not just a standalone regular tournament on the tour schedule. So there is a little bit of that, too, where it's like, I don't want to be because that's what they do. They have all the kids from the children's hospitals and all of that on the grounds. And, it is kind of a bad look, I guess. From a strategic standpoint, it's probably smart, but it's a bad look.
Yeah,
you heard it here
tough.
First. Wes Reynolds says on Long Shots podcast, Rory doesn't like kids. So there it is. You heard
Rory
it.
says F them kids.
It. Yeah, you heard it right here. Breaking news.
Clarify,
Wes Reynolds says Rory doesn't like kids.
No, it's a step further. Wes Reynolds doesn't like sick kids. Even worse.
Oh,
yes.
Even worse.
Yes.
Oh,
even
boy.
worse.
Oh,
boy.
brother.
Oh, boy.
Oh, brother.
See if you can get a drink the next time you're in Memphis, huh?
He's not going to take my question at the next press.
All right, so I didn't mean to derail this whole thing. I think it's interesting, and for much as we talk about this with the NBA and NFL and stuff, man, I think they're going to have to address this. I know I almost feel bad for the PGA Tour at this point that they have to think about changing this every single year. But sorry, every year you change something, you create a new wave of issues you didn't really foresee. I can understand that, but I think something's going to have to be changed up here because if I was sitting 32nd in the standings right now, I would not be playing this week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't. It's a. It's unfortunate, but yes, I mean, like you said, Kelly, you're professional. This is nothing new, right? Professional athletes, gamblers, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you go to the maximum amount within the rules that are provided for you, and that's where we're at with all this. Okay. Let's get to the stats that matter here. Wes Reynolds, we know, like you said, pretty decent sample size of this course, so we have a decent idea of what it takes to have success here. So it just comes down to how heavily you decided to weight all of that stuff. What did you go with, and how heavily did you weight it?
Well, approach is a very good starting point here, considering 4 of the last 7 winners here, third or better during their winning week. So approach, if you want to go in the proximity, it's like 2/3 from anywhere from 125 to 200, which wedge range to kind of like short/middle irons, maybe from like wedge to like 7 irons here, basically. So 125 to 150, 150 to 75, 175, 200, or if you just want to combine them all together to get some numbers. So that from the approach standpoint. In terms of driving this week, I took a little different approach. I did not go with SGOTT, strokes gained off the tee. I went a little bit with total driving because I think distance, you can cut some of these dog legs because I think there are 12 dog legs of the 18 holes on this layout. But the fairways are narrow, so you still kind of got to be accurate too, but distance will help. So I did a little total driving. I also did fairways hit percentage, and that could be fairways gained, depending on what stat site you may use. It's a little more difficult to find fairways. Like I said, 27 yards on average, so you got narrow landing zones, and you still got to play a little bit of positional golf. This isn't something where it's just like grip it and rip it and overpower the course necessarily. And if you look at the previous winners, by the way, of these events, pretty damn good ball strikers with the irons. Hideki Matsuyama, Lucas Glover, Zalatoris, Thomas, DJ, Daniel Berger. Like, you could look at the previous winners and say, okay, approach play has been really important and your irons really end up deciding this thing. But getting back to the tee, I did some good drives gained as well. For guys that are going to miss some of these fairways, because these fairways and greens are so small, you're going to miss some of them, even if you're striking the hell out of the ball and doing very well. So there are some times you're going to have to try to reach the green out of this rough. And good drive percentage, I think, really measures that. So it's not just hitting the fairways for good drives. Opportunities gain, because the greens, as Kelly mentioned earlier, pretty forgiving here. Not a lot to them. Not a lot of I think, not really a lot of undulations or anything to these greens. So pretty straightforward. So opportunities gained, I think, is important. Scrambling could be a little bit important here. It's some of the smaller greens on tour, so you are going to have to scramble in order to save pars. 3 of the last 6 winners here, by the way, led the field in scrambling during their winning weeks. And then also did strokes gained par 4, 450 to 500, because 6 of the par 4s, of the 12 par 4s, I should say, on the layout are between that. And then I did putting for a tiebreaker, but I don't think you want to do much putting this week. So you'd go strokes gained putting, Bermuda greens. These are straightforward, like I was saying. Not a lot of complexities to these greens.
Kelly, I did something just to kind of like do a little bit of comparison stuff here. So to create a mixed condition model, I kind of wanted to see who has been good all season and then who's coming in hot, and then if there's any consistency of people who have just been good all year long. And so I made a model, and this isn't necessarily I made a model that isn't necessarily the one that I made the bets off of, but I went in and like the categories that I really liked. So I went tee to green, off the tee, approach, short game, total driving, good drive percentage, distance from the edge of the fairway, birdie or better, and bogey avoidance. Right. And then I went in and did it over the last 6 months, and then I went in and did it over the last 24 rounds. So last 6 months takes us back to February, which is basically kind of the beginning of the season. It also includes the Florida swing, which I think is something I certainly wanted to look at as comparison for this. We're getting back into the South. We're getting back into the humidity. We're getting back into the Bermuda greens, the things like that and whatnot. And I just evenly weighted it all the way through just to kind of see what the results were from all of that. And then I also just went over to Rick's site and did the typical modeling stuff that I do over there as well. Most of the stuff that Wes said, I think I went a little bit more driver heavy though than Wes did. I have off the tee, I have distance, I have total driving, I have good drive percentage in there as well. And then from an approach standpoint is I didn't put buckets, I didn't put whatever. Opportunities gained is basically, it's basically an approach statistic because you're giving yourself an opportunity to make a birdie and stuff. And so I kind of split approach between that and opportunities gained for me for the model. And that's kind of how I went about it this week. But I think a little bit more driver heavy maybe than Wes did.
Yeah, I'll rattle through mine pretty quick because you guys sounds like all three of us are relatively similar. I don't know if I heard any of you guys bring this up, but kind of similar thinking, I guess, Matt, of just, I don't really care how you've gotten it done, but how have you gotten it done to get to this point? So I actually looked at tee to green stuff a little bit more, just general overall than I usually do. So factored that in, and then basically everything off the tee that you mentioned, just strokes gained off the tee, driving distance, and then accuracy and good drive stats, fairways and good drives is what I looked at. Approach, opportunities gained. I did sprinkle some of those buckets. I didn't go too heavy, though. I actually just focused mainly on the 125 to like 175 proximity. The par fours, 450 to 500, I did that light. And then scrambling around the green, bogey avoidance, birdie or better, and strokes gained putting, just pure strokes gained putting, like you talked about, Wes. All of those very minor, but I would say all the ball striking metrics were at 70+% of my modeling this week.
Yeah, I think our models are going, despite the fact that we didn't maybe weight everything exactly the same, I think our models are probably going to look fairly similar given the stat profile of the golfer that we're going for.
Who's
this
number
week,
two
Kelly,
for everybody?
Well, Kelly, I was going to say, so what did yours spit out? And it just as we're kind of like running through this.
So top three, and one of these guys one of the guys I didn't play, his name's Scotty Scheffler. Top three pretty consistently were Scheffler, and I took everything from last 12 to last 24 rounds, kind of sorted through and pulled up different models. That's kind of how I usually do this, and then see where everybody's rated out at. It was 1, 2, 3, Scheffler 1, and then a mix of 2, 3 with Russell Henley and Victor Hovland.
Interesting.
And I had Henley in my top three as well. Straka, Scotty, of course, the number one. Straka, by the way, ended up number 2 this week for me.
Really?
Yeah. So Hovland nowhere near for me actually. Hovland, the closest Hovland was. Let me click through here. 18th. So I don't know what you weighed to get old Hovland up there, but didn't get there for me.
Well, it's the approach stuff, right? His irons have been out of fucking control here recently.
Straka, I ended up with 2, by the way, because of a lot of the proximity buckets. Because he was up there in all of them. So
good call,
having
Wes.
weighed them, that's what put him so high, whereas he might be probably, I think, in a traditional model somewhere like maybe bottom half of like the top 10.
Yeah, Matt. So good call by Wes. So what a few things that I heard me and Wes enter, that the par 4 is 450 to 500. Victor is 1 in, and then 125 to 150 he's 7th in, and 150 to 175 he's 10th in.
Yeah, I guess that could be. Yeah, I mean, I guess that could certainly be it. So for me, and this can kind of like lead to some of the bets for me because again, like I said, I put in distance. Not heavily at all. I went way more with good drive percentage and even just a little bit more on the
me too
on the total driving stuff than I did driving to pure distance. But at least I did play a factor. And then, as a matter of fact, I only put in 5% on driving distance in the model. So a very very small percentage of it all. But mine went from an average perspective. I averaged the 3 different ones together: Scheffler, Berger, Fleetwood, Straka, Lowry, Connors, Henley, Morikawa, Goddard, Kitayama is my top 10 on average of the three models. So,
interesting.
Which again lets you know how good some of those dudes are in all of the other shit because most of those dudes are not long off the tee. Like most of those guys are not very long off the tee at all. So that lets you know just how outstanding they have been in all of the other stuff. With all of that. So anyhow, that's how the models went out. Wes, what ended up on the card for you, buddy?
Yeah, somebody that didn't model at the top, but this card is a little bit of a mix of gut, model, and market. So we're going to start with gut here. Cameron Young, of course, broke his losing streak last week to be the 1,000th different winner on the PGA Tour, winning in Greensboro last week. So who's going to be 10-01?
Wait,
if
are
anybody?
you serious? 1,000?
Yeah,
I didn't hear
yeah. I saw a tweet that said 1,000 career different players have won on the PGA Tour. So who's going to be 1,001? Why not Tommy Fleetwood to do the same this week? Why not? Let's add the European Cameron Young, who's broken my heart.
He's number 3 in the average over the average of the models for me.
So, Matt, Cameron Young beats Tommy Fleetwood in a playoff. This is how.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Boy, that'd be more salt in the wound. It's just like
so cruel.
I'll just hand you my money. You don't have to like kick me in the what. I'll just give you the money. But he doesn't have as many runner-up finishes as Young. He does have 4 on the PGA Tour, plus that silver medal over there at the 2024 Olympic Games. 7-time DP World Tour winner. Kelly and I benefited when he kind of gagged on the 18th hole. Kind of gagged. He did gag on the 18th hole to help give Keegan the victory at the Travelers, so I think he's kind of owed one, and he's got some history here, too. 3rd 2 years ago, 4th in 2019, ball striking heavy course. I think that he really should fit this place. So Tommy Fleetwood, I'm not getting a bargain on the price. I feel like I should be getting in the 30s, but I took 25-1. So now we'll go to the 30s. A guy that did profile very high for Kelly and I, Russell Henley, at 30-1. He's actually, he has only played 5 PGA Tour events since the Masters.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much, with the exception of the PGA, he's played well in all of them. Top 10 at the U.S. Open, top 10 at the Open Championship, runner-up at the Travelers, co-runner-up with Fleetwood to Keegan, by the way, and 5th at the Memorial. And he's got a couple top 7 finishes here, 2016, 2023. He's also a fairway finder. So if you use fairways gained or good drives, he's going to profile high for you. Historically, he is at his best on the Bermuda. So Russell Henley, I think, could go very well here. And he's one of those guys that I think most assuredly is on the Ryder Cup team. So Russell Henley, 30-1. And then a guy that I think is on, but maybe could use a good showing here, Colin Morikawa, 33, 34, 35-1. I think there's various prices in the market. I mentioned Mark Urbanek, who was with Tony Finau the last several years, is now on Morikawa's back. I think this is caddy number 4. Kelly, you might be right. It might be number 5. I'm trying to cycle through them all in my head here.
You look at his 20. Hold on, I'll find it.
Yeah, because he had his brother. I think, or I thought he had his brother for one. I know he had Billy Foster, and then he had his original guy. So while you go through that, he hadn't played poorly. If you really look at his 2025, he was runner-up at the Opener at the Century. He was runner-up at the Arnold Palmer. But he's been inconsistent. He missed straight cuts overseas on the links at the Scottish in the Open. But I'm willing to dismiss that a little bit because this is where I'm playing market. If you've listened to us or watched Long Shots all year, you'll notice that Morikawa's price has been in the high teens, low 20s. Pretty much all season, even in fields with Scotty Scheffler. And now you're seeing him in the mid-30s. I think I'm going to buy the dip here. I just think that even though he doesn't have the win equity, I feel like the number's just a bit high in what is a limited field, no-cut field with 70 players. He's going to be likely on the Ryder Cup team, I think, with his body of work and his experience. I would put him in the 90 percentile and not quite at 100%. Just yet. So he could use a good showing, I think, over the next week or two. I think he might get it here on what is a ball striker course, and his approach numbers are obviously still stellar. I wasn't going to play this guy, but I feel like this is a FOMO play, and it was between him or Fitzpatrick, so I chose Victor Hovland instead. Runner-up in Memphis last year. By the way, when you just look at the pure rankings on the PGA Tour this season, Scotty Scheffler obviously number 1 on approach. Number 2, Victor Hovland, though, a little bit of distance, but pretty damn good ball striking numbers. And approach numbers. He won at Innisbrook in the Valspar, which I think has some correlation to this event. And he won when he was on inconsistent form. Remember, he drifted to like 70-1 that week. It was like, that's an absurd price for that guy, his talent. Of course, I didn't have the foresight to bet him, but I digress. Ability to win on these strategic ball striking heavy courses that are tree lined. So Victor Hovland, 35, and then a couple more. Sepp Straka, 45-1, 4th on this field on approach. Gains in proximity, and that's why he modeled so high for me. is because he gains in all the buckets this week, particularly with the wedges, 125 to 150, 150 to 175. 12 top 15 finishes, got a victory at the Amex, which we got at 60 to 1 earlier this year, and also at the Truist the week before the PGA. Runner-up here in 2022, remember he was in that playoff with Will Zalatoris, when Will Zalatoris had been coming close and not winning on the PGA Tour, and then finally won his first event. Hopefully he is recovering from his surgery and is back on tour soon. But Sepp Straka, 45 to 1. And then kind of Mr. Memphis, not quite Jerry the King Lawler or Elvis Presley level in Memphis, but Daniel Berger's had some success in this city. Two-time winner, 2016, 2017, has only finished outside the top 5 once in 5 visits. Cooled a little bit recently from the earlier hot form, but top 10 in approach, top 10 in fairways hit, top 10 in good drive percentage, top 10 in scrambling, second in the field for total driving. Just, he's on the outside. I don't want to say just on the outside. He's on the outside looking in, I think, for the Ryder Cup team. But this is a guy, there's that one guy that gets hot that steals a spot at the end. It could be Daniel Berger. This is a good a venue and as good a time as any for him. So Daniel Berger, 50 to 1.
Kelly Bidlin, what ended up on your card?
All righty. Wes, how did you set that up? The by the model, by the gut, and by the number? Because I think I check all those boxes this week as well.
Yeah, gut was Fleetwood, and Morikawa was market just on a price, and gut was also Hovland, and then like Straka, Berger, and Henley for me were kind of like model plays that just really liked what I saw in the stats.
Yeah, I liked how you set that up because I actually think that applies to me, all those this week as well. So I mentioned how high Hovland rated out for me this week. He was consistently top 5. I kind of like you just teed it up, Wes. You had a choice at the end. Kind of did the same. Decided to go another direction. I just played Victor in a top 20, which if we take things back a couple years, that feels very appropriate. That's how we were betting him all the time. So Victor Hovland, top 20. I mean, just the approach numbers are insane. The rest of the bag kind of concerns me, but man. Just take away the Open, and it was 12 straight tournaments, I believe, of heavy gaining on approach. Finished T2 here last year. I know you said that. So I played a top 20 on him and moved on. That's where I left it at. And then I'm going to go a little bit backwards here. I did play Tommy Fleetwood as well. The only market I played him in, though, top 20. I laid it. I laid -150 with Fleetwood and just loaded up there. I think with a field of 69 guys, I don't know if he can go out and win this thing as we've become accustomed to with Tommy Fleetwood, but biggest bet of the tournament for me is a top 20 on Tommy Fleetwood. So went with those. All right, now I'm going to go backwards because outrights, it all kind of scales down from there. Outright started the card, Xander Schauffele, played him 18 to 1. Look, last 16 round, 8th on off the tee, 4th on approach, 3rd in distance, 4th in opportunities gained. The recent results are there. We know he was coming off that injury to start the year. The ball striking is maybe, I guess we'd like to see a little bit more consistency, but with what he's done with the club head speed this year, this is about as good as it's ever been with Xander. I really think, I think I said this a couple months ago. I'll stand by it. Like, I think this dude wins before the year's out, and we're running out of tournaments for him to do that in. So I think I'll probably be on Xander every week here. Matt, do you want to jump in there?
I have that ticket from like whatever. I have that.
Me too.
Whatever they
me
put
too.
up.
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up. Glad you brought this up. So, how are you guys attacking that this week? Because this is a thing every year, right? Like, Wes, are you betting to win the FedEx Cup? Are you making those bets on every outright that you bet this week?
I am not necessarily. I have a little bit of trouble with that market because even without the starting strokes, it's obviously going to be a little bit more fair this time. So it's not going to be like Scotty Scheffler minus money when he has such a big gap, because they do, by the way, quadruple the points in all of these events. So you're not getting the typical, if you look at your point distribution table or grid, you're not getting the same that you would get even in like a signature event or a major. Like, they're really influenced on the playoffs, so they quadruple the points this week. So theoretically, theoretically, they want to make it possible for everybody to have a chance, even the guys like the Matty Schmidt that got like the last spot in the points last week at the Wyndham. So that's what they're trying to do. So it's a little bit different than if you've been playing that market in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, good point. I guess with that, Matt, though, technically it does make that a little less valuable to get in on it early like we did, because you don't get you're hoping to wind up with a guy that maybe has that starting stroke lead, right? And then that's you've got that sweet number on him. But whatever, I'm already in on Xander and Tony Finau, so enjoy my money on that one, Caesars. Okay, Xander outright, winner without, and top 5. This is how I bet these guys. That I did at the top of the board. Did Xander split them up between the outright, the winner without Scheffler, and a top 5 on him. Also did that with Ludwig Oberg. You talked about going between Fitzpatrick and Victor, Wes. I did that. I was doing that with Ludwig and Victor. I decided to go, you know what? Ludwig's been a little bit more more consistent here the past couple tournaments with his ball striking numbers. I think this course could set up well for him, and almost any time he drifts out to 30-1, I think I want to be in on him. So
enjoy the 2 water balls on Sunday, and he falls off and finishes tee to 30. So just enjoy the 2 water balls on Sunday, and that'll be fun.
Accuracy is an issue with him off the tee. There's no doubt about that. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you decided to torture yourself this week. So enjoy the 2 water balls.
That's also part of the betting process, right? I'd rather sink more money on a Victor Hovland top 20 ticket that I feel a little bit more secure with him being around for most of the weekend. And Ludwig, who has been inconsistent this season, I'm trying to catch the falling knife sort of thing, however they say that. So Ludwig, I went outright winner without top 5. Didn't go any deeper with him on that as far as spending money. The 2 guys that I played the most on this week overall, Russell Henley and Matt Fitzpatrick. I'm not going away from Fitz. He didn't land. I don't know if you noticed this, Wes. Those proximity buckets weren't exactly, I guess, his bread and butter, because he rates pretty far down on those. For me, however, I've been talking about him at least for the past 3 weeks here, or 3 tournaments that he's played. It's just he's getting it done everywhere. I mean, the ball striking has been really damn impressive. The putting and short game success is not all that new for Fitzpatrick, but man, what he is doing off the tee and on approach right now is really, really, really good. He hasn't finished worse. I mean, he's got 4 straight top 8 finishes. Go back, it's 5 if you want to go back to the Travelers and make T17 or better. He's just on absolute fire. I'm going to keep playing him. I played him in outright, winner without, and then went heavier on a top 10 with Fitzpatrick at 2-1. I did the exact same thing then with Russell Henley. So Henley outright, Henley winner without, and Henley heavier in a top 10 market as well. I really liked Henley. I was trying to figure out how much to ladder those down into different markets, but just decided to go heavy on a top 10 with him and Fitz there. So again, that's everything. I'll roll through it one more time. Outrights and winner without, Xander, Henley, Fitzpatrick, and Oberg. Top 5s then on Schauffele and Oberg. Top 10s on Henley and Fitzpatrick. Top 20s on Fleetwood and Hovland. And absolutely 0 tournament matchups for me so far. And I don't think I'm going to add any, because I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of good golfers in this tournament. So it was really hard to find matchups that stuck out. It's kind of weird. You get to the playoffs and it's just good golfers.
Yeah, there's one matchup I really wanted to play, and actually it involves the guy you're just talking about. It's available offshore right now. I'm hoping one of the domestics puts it up, but they have Fitzpatrick going against Ludwig. I know you're on Ludwig. I am not at all. I think this is a horrible, horrible layout for Ludwig Oberg, actually. And so I would love to go up against him with Fitzpatrick. It's available offshore right now. It is not here stateside, so maybe one of the books ends up putting it up, but that's the one that I was really trying to get down on. I have Fitzpatrick as a huge favorite in a head-to-head against Ludwig, so that's the one I would like to try to get into the account if at all possible. I very, very heavily considered being the boring guy coming in here and saying, I put $1,000 on Scotty Scheffler. There's my bet. I'm out of here. I was really close to doing that. I think he probably wins this tournament. I mean, if what this course demands, he's just better than everybody. I mean, he's just better than everybody at all of these things. I mean, I told y'all that I made that mixed model, right? Of over the course of the season since February, and then over the last 24 rounds. So basically you have the entire season of golf, excluding the Hawaii stuff, and then you have what's happened over the last 6 tournaments. Tee to green first. Tee to green first. So like this will go all season, last 24 rounds. Tee to green, first in the field. Tee to green, first in the field. Off the tee, second. Off the tee, fourth. Approach first. Short game, second. Short game, eighth. Total driving, second. Total driving, 13th. So get it together, Scotty. 13th in the field.
Hopefully he's rusty, right?
Yeah. Good drives, 10. Good drives, 14th. So again, that probably goes in with the whole total driving stuff or whatever. Distance from the edge of the fairway, 8th. Birdie or better, 2nd. Bogey avoidance, 1st. You get the picture. He is better than everybody over the course of the whole season. He's better than most everybody over the course of the last 24 rounds at every single category that we put in for this golf tournament. So I was very, very close to firing the single bullet and walking away. If you're in a DFS state, I might drive down to the border and just like make 100 Scotty Scheffler like teams or something, and then just like rotate it with these guys that we're saying we like and stuff. But ended up not going that direction. I'm going to end up regretting it. I played Henley as well. I played Straka as well. I told y'all how my models averaged out, so that's probably no surprise to you. They were very, very high in the models for me. So all the stuff that Kelly and Wes have said about both of those guys all apply to me for Henley and for Straka. I didn't get the 30 that Wes got on Henley. I got 27, but I did get the 45 on Straka. So 27 on Henley, 45 on Straka. You know who else modeled out very well for me is Ben Griffin. And I know it's like, how much can this keep going on, and how long can this guy keep doing it? And I get all of that. But I mean, he's been doing it all year long. It is something, you know, maybe he figured something out. I mean, look, we've seen it with golfers from time to time. Like, I'm not betting on Ben Griffin probably long term. Like, I wouldn't be buying a bunch of stock in Ben Griffin, like if we're talking about what's going to happen next year and the year after that. But he sure figured something out right now. And sometimes when your swing is just working, it can just work for a little while. And so Ben Griffin at 40-1 checks basically all the damn boxes, which is like something I did not think I'd be saying as we got to playoff time. So yeah, I put in on Ben Griffin.
Yeah, I did. I'm just staring at it, Matt. Like, you guys know I did this a couple weeks with Goddard, and like I'm kind of beating myself earlier. I didn't go right back to it where I'm like, if you're not even as bullish as Matt, like you just want to ride the hot hand, throw in a top 20 on Ben Griffin at even money this week. Like it's 41 sweet, right? But like if you want to just ride the hot hand and you think this guy's going to continue to have quality finishes, scoop up I don't want to say easy money, but God, the way that him and Goddard have been in these grooves here over the past few months, it's just. I hear you, man. I'm not going to knock you at all for going right back to him.
Y'all heard me read off the model a little bit earlier, so going to be no surprise to you that I am also on Corey Connors. I am also on Shane Lowry. Both of those guys inside the top 7 in the model for me. If we talk about the stuff that we really like and we think that this course is going to demand, if you want to talk about getting into the fairway, giving yourself a chance to have good approach shots, Corey Connors, 3rd in this field in fairways gained. The guy is just a fairway finder. If you go in and you look, you might be shocked to find that he's actually 18th in total driving in this field. He's not a long guy at all, so that lets you know how good he is from an accuracy standpoint. When you combine that with him being 53rd in driving distance in the field, so that ought to give you a really good idea of kind of where he stands with all of that. I want dudes that give themselves chances to make birdies as well, opportunities gained. Shane Lowry, you wouldn't think about that, but that's where he is at as well. Shane Lowry, 11th in this field in total driving, despite being 62nd in driving distance in this field. So that lets you know, again, when you add in the accuracy aspect to all of this, how good Shane Lowry is. And bogey avoidance. And, that comes into avoiding, different courses bring different challenges, and that brings in, avoiding pot bunkers. That is avoiding, hitting it into the woods. That is avoiding
crappy around the green play.
The water and all the different stuff like that. here we are, Shane Lowry, second overall in this field in bogey avoidance, only to, Scotty Scheffler. You knew that anyway. But, like, this is just something for me. If these dudes can go, I just want the chance that someone's not going to piss it away, right? And, like, so don't go hit it into the water twice and just completely lose your chance. And, like, Shane Lowry, from an accuracy standpoint with the tee, from not making bogeys and all of that, and honestly, like we said, probably more than we even think about, gives himself opportunities to make birdies. Shane Lowry going to round out the card for me. So Henley, Griffin, Straka, Connors, Lowry for me. By the way, you can find Shane Lowry as long as 66-1 out there in the market right now.
Wow.
I think that is a ridiculously disrespectful number to a dude. Like we said, if we value what we say we value in this tournament, that number is just crazy to me.
He was in my top 10 from a model standpoint, so that is a very high number.
I agree with you, Matt. That is also not the first time we have said that about that golfer on this podcast this year.
Yeah. No,
I know
sure.
I've said it at least once. I think it's been a couple times where I'm like, dude, these Lowry odds just do not match up.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can put it all together. I mean, really, the biggest thing about Shane Lowry, and anyone that watches a bunch of golf just knows, it's like three of the things work and one of them doesn't, right? It's like, it's just kind of like, and that's been his biggest problem. And so if he can put it all together, though, I think he is a dude that can really, really make a run here. The last time he was green across the board, he was second at the Truist, right? I mean, like, it's just like, if he can put it all together, he's going to be there at the very, very top. And that's kind of what we're looking for here out of Shane Lowry. So that's the card for me. I will go ahead and say this one last time. I think Scotty Scheffler wins the tournament. I mean, I know it's like boring to say. I know it, but like, he's just that much better than everybody. And on a course that,
take, bro.
on a course that, no, I'm just saying, on a course that like, on a course that one shot can like just completely crater your whole tournament. Like, he just doesn't hit that one shot.
He's always in control. Yeah, he never hits that shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's not going to be the ball. He's not going to be the guy standing on one of the holes with 6 holes left who hits it in the wide. He's like, she's not going to do it. Like, he just does not do that.
I mean, I'm not that worried about like Russell Henley doing that either, but like Russell Henley can't hit it as far as Scotty Scheffler then either. So.
You could, yes, he cannot.
Oh wait, I got a question. So are we all three? What's the pod play? Henley? We're all three on Henley. Because I have a Henley question, right?
Yes.
So you played Henley outright as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, probably my strongest, the guy I feel strongest about this week, I think, is Russell Henley. So I wanted to ask you guys this question because, Wes, you brought this up. I think the only reason I held back from adding even more money and maybe even another market or two with Henley was the lack of tournaments that he's played.
Yeah.
And then his position of where he's at in the rankings. And is it just like, I hate to play mind games with these guys, but if Rory's skipping this, we're going back to that whole conversation. Like, does Henley just feel like he's so comfortably inside? Like, I just got to go out there and put together an okay week and I'm good. Like, that concerns me a little bit. And just the lack of golf that he's played, I did find weird as well. Like, Wes, I noticed that same thing as I was going through his season. I was like, this feels like very little golf for him.
And I was looking at the grid, too. Like, J.J. Spahn's not a guy that's played a lot lately, too. Played Memorial, won the U.S. Open, Traveler, Scottish, and then the Open Championship. Like Scotty has actually played somewhat frequently. Ever since he won the PGA, played at the Schwab. He's based in that area. The Memorial, U.S. Open, Travelers, Scottish, and the Open Championship. Russell Henley did not play the Scottish, nor did he play the Charles Schwab, but that's the difference is because they were right there lined up on this grid I was looking at. So, yeah, some of these guys have played a little bit more. Most of the top-end guys over the last, 12 weeks, which is 3 months, I think have predominantly played 7 events.
Yeah, I don't know if I really had a question in there or not, Matt, but it was just that was something that a little bit held me back from going a little bit harder on Henley because he's my favorite bet this week. He's my favorite bet.
Okay, yeah, I think the only big differing opinion I have from you guys is Hovland. Like I said, he didn't even come close to being a consideration for me this week. if you go and look strokes gained short game at this course is exponentially more important than it is on a typical tour event. It is actually the 9th most important thing at the St. Jude historically, where it is like 15th on the tour average, like as far as like importance in a typical tournament. And so his short game numbers are atrocious still. He still hasn't figured that out.
He had a pitiful year pitching here, right? Wasn't this one of his like all-timer bad pitching rounds?
Yeah, because this is he's usually a little bit better out of like punching out of like thick stuff.
Right.
But he's not good in terms of like tight lies.
Yeah.
And the like here. So it's kind of
if
like
you're
a
watching
little combo platter.
He has lost in 4 or 5 years around the green, but
yeah.
So that just really kind of got me off of him. I was actually trying to find ways to attack him actually in the head-to-head market, but there's nothing's appealing. Like they have him up against Spieth, and I'm like,
you're back in Jordan Spieth. I think we all did that once or twice this year. And
I'm kind of like, I don't really want to I don't like him this week, but I don't dislike him that much. I'm not going to go. I'm not backing Jordan Spieth against him.
I am trying to look up. Somebody hit Spieth like in a matchup market. I'm trying to see on my screen here who he was matched up again that I thought was really curious. That kept me off. I'm trying to find it. I may not. We may not be able to do it before we.
It's okay.
Run out of time
I've got breaking
here,
golf news coming down. I can report on that people.
Okay, go ahead.
That people listen to 9 hours later in their car driving to work tomorrow. But whatever. Rory McIlroy's absence in playoff event has officials quote concerned. And this is an ESPN article quoting Peter Malnati about, concerned and stuff in the works to keep this from happening again, is basically what he said.
Yes.
So, there we go.
They do need to fix something, because are you kidding me? If I was in this event, if I was locked in number 32, see ya. Kelly's taking a week off. I'll go get ready for the next one. Lock me in. Give me that money for them signature events next year. That's all I care about.
Yeah, he's probably playing just like short par threes inside his like 60,000 square foot house that he's got or whatever.
Yeah, it's so great.
He's just he's playing like little 50-yard par three course anyway. So
maybe he's the first one
to work.
Maybe he's the first one to design the Bidland Indoor Golf League, which is I don't think I've ever explained it on this podcast, but if you think about a parking garage, just like an elevator system, the holes just go up. They just go up, and you just go up. Just build it up, Matt. You don't have to build it out. You just build it up.
The biggle?
The biggle.
The Bidland Indoor Golf the biggle?
There you go, the biggle. There you go, the biggle.
There you go.
It's just you just take an elevator up to every hole, man. Just air conditioning, living the life. That's what I'm talking about. That's when Matt Brown's going to be getting me playing golf again.
Yeah, I got to get you out, man. We got to get you on the go. If Von Brinkel's out there, I got to get you out there. Come on,
I already talked to him about it the other day. I was like, you guys have fun. You take Matt Brown, you guys go have a great time.
Guys, it is definitely still golf season, but also we know football season's right around the corner. We've already had a preseason game. We got more coming this week. And also over on VSiN.com, dropping today, Tuesday, August the 5th, a couple of different very fun things over there. The college football betting guide drops today, so go in, be sure and take a look at that. I personally think it is the most valuable thing that we do at the network with the transfer portal that is now a very, very big part of the offseason. You don't have any idea who plays where and what they're going on and what the depth charts look like and all the stuff like that, but we have a bunch of different people working on that to help you out. It's a great way to get prepared for the college football season, so go in and look at that over at VSiN.com. And also premiering tonight, Circus Survivor Quest for $14.2 million, documentary 10-part series going and looking behind the scenes of the biggest legal sports contest in the world right there at Circa. And it goes all the way down to the very end, following all of the winners along the way and getting interviews with those guys and all of that. It's a really cool deal. Episodes 1 to 5 today on the site. Episodes 6 to 10 will be next week over on the site as well. So a couple of good things going on over at VSiN.com today as well. And of course, you can get Wes's write-up and all of our plays over on the picks page, VSiN.com/picks for Kelly. For Wes, I am Matt. Good luck on all your St. Jude bets.
I timed it so perfect. Come on, what's going on? Why are we lagging? Oh, now the phone's not up.
Oh.
Get it together, Bidlin.
Wow.
How are you going to start your own golf league?
Oh, boy.
Can't even play a video right.
If you would have closed out the Pornhub page, then this thing would have fired on time.
God damn it. Pornhub slowing down another computer. Got to move to Texas.